Hey, back in the studio today. Today I'm working with some National Geographics. I want to do some photo collaging. I like working with these. I found some at my local library. They had some from like the 70s and 80s. So, you know, the Geographics have great coated stock, wonderful for collaging. I like to take pictures and sort of cut them up and reorient them. I use a lot of the black and whites. I like that as a base for the page. And oftentimes a lot of the pictures and the information is so informing in terms of the world or what's going on, and oftentimes the things that I'm passionate about. So I like connecting with that as a starting point for what I'm choosing to journal about. So as you can see here, this was day 10, 11, and now we're going to day 12. Sort of showing you again what I've done. I completed the other page there, but of course it's out of the field, so it's sort of hard to see how I added some additional washi tape that I had made and some things like that. So I'll get my trusty small cutter and working with this black and white print. It looks like it's of trees that had fallen, that were, you know, sort of laying there, eroding and what have you. But I liked the imagery. So I'm gonna cut these down into quarters, and then I'm gonna reorient the page so that it's not gonna go down in the order that it was originally photographed. And that's, you know, something that you can always do with pictures, as long as you change them around enough and reorient them so that they're not what they used to be. You can certainly use them. And in this case, I'm putting them in my journal in terms of ideas and what have you. So, and I'll be putting some of my papers and what have you down. So it's not like I'm using this to sell or resell it or something like that. So you don't really have a copyright infringement problem there at all. So we're going to put this into 4 pieces. I'm kind of just winging it. I'm sort of laying it against the page to see the size, and then I'm sort of just cutting them free form. I'm not measuring it exactly, in other words. So here we are. I really love working with National Geographics. Whenever I can find them, I just get them. They have such great subject matter in them. And I have some other interesting things I've been doing with them as well. So on some of the future pages, I'll pop some of them down, because I've done some things that I like. I'm working in some other books that I'm doing, book as art pieces, and so the extras that I have from there, from a lot of these ideas and these projects, I'm putting in this journal. So this journal, like I said before, sort of becomes a document of the techniques of the other journals I'm making throughout the year. Bits and pieces of them that I really like, that I want to remember technique, I'm putting in here, even though a lot of the final pieces are going in the actual book. So I'm cutting down the last few pieces here. And all the extra pieces I always keep if they have images on them, because as you know, when you're collaging, sometimes you just need the smallest piece of something to go on your page. So I have this tin that I keep all of these in. This piece of paper that I had in my hand is another piece that is a painted page. It's actually a waste page. It's you probably see from looking at these videos now that I put white newsprint down as a surface that I work on, and I wipe my paintbrush off on it. I rub my brayer down on it. I test my ink pens and what have you. So when I'm done with that, oftentimes I have bits and pieces that I like, and so what I normally do is I photocopy those onto that onion skin paper that I like to use, because at least I'm using the cotton stock, which is more of a quality paper, and it's translucent, so it really is nice for collaging. So that's what I did here. So I'm going to take a piece of that paper as well and use some portion of it in this collage. I also have a index card that I used as a mask when I was doing some jelly prints, and I like the way the colors came out, so I'm going to use that on this page as well. It has the lines on it like index papers do, so I probably will be writing something on it. Normally my inspiration for what this page is about comes to me as I'm working on it. I don't know how you guys come up with your themes, but generally I get inspired in the process of actually making the art. It'll come to me what the message is of this page. Oftentimes to myself, you know, it's what may be subconscious in my spirit. It's sort of like a meditation. Art is a meditation anyway. When I'm in my studio, it's just I go into a zone, and it's like meditating in that so much comes into my spirit, and I think that's why I enjoy the process of being in the studio so much. So here I'm beginning, slightly out of frame, sorry about that, to put down this first piece. It's black and white branches sort of thing. And while I was away, I was spray painting, I always say spray paint, but I was spray gluing the back of these photos with my low odor spray glue that you know that I use. I love that stuff because it does not leave an odor at all. I was using some of the other spray glues and where they're just as adhesive and what have you, but goodness, the studio is just full of those fumes and I don't like smelling that stuff. So when I came across this low odor, if you try it, I guarantee you will not smell a thing. So you'll enjoy that using it. So here I'm putting the last quarter down and smoothing it again, getting a nice, and there you can see how this photograph is really quite a bit different than what it was when I took it out of the magazine. But it makes a nice black to grayscale photo that I can lay down and really kind of contemplate. And of course I'm using my wax paper, as I always do, to smooth out the glued pages. So here's the paper, that painted paper that I have, the waste paper that I'm using to figure out what part of it I'm going to use. I sort of tore this. It was kind of on an angle. It was kind of a strange angle. And I kind of thought, trying to get it a little more uniformed. But this grid, I don't know, I couldn't figure out where to put it. I don't know that I like it there. I don't really like that angle. But then I didn't want a torn edge because I was thinking I had this nice grid. And I didn't want it to be too amorphous, and this piece is just not working. So probably going to So now this is that index card that I used as a mask when I was doing some jelly prints. You know, I put it down and I'm using the brayer around the sides to create a square, and I happen to be using black ink and a sort of silver. And it just so happens that those lines in the middle stayed, so it kind of did this frame. So I think I'm going to use this. I like this, but I'm going to cut it and make it a little smaller so that it doesn't take so much of the imagery up, but it still obliterates it enough that you have to really look at this image to kind of figure out what's going on. And I really like that. So here again, I'll use some glue, some spray glue, to put that down. I think when collaging and book arts, collaging and monoprint are probably the three things that I love doing most in my studio. I really love making books. That's like a huge thrill for me. And I always think when I do paintings and I do flat art, but it's something about a book. I just love making books, and I never can seem to get enough of making books, and I've been making them for 30 plus years. I started making books when book is art was a new concept in the art world. And so I did a lot of apprenticing and working with some of the greats in the book arts. I was very fortunate that I came along right at the time where that was happening. So a lot of my book arts training I got directly from people like Hetty Kyle and Tim Ely and some of those folks that are just phenomenal book artists. So I found a piece that looked like a fingerprint to me. It was really interesting. It was one of my circle pieces, but it looked like a fingerprint. And as soon as I found that piece, I'm like, yeah, let's put that down. And then it made me think about fingerprints on the earth. And then all of this fallen wood and trees and debris and everything that happens as a result of storms or deterioration or just the land not being cared for, is really about fingerprints on the earth. And everything we do, even these videos, are leaving a fingerprint on our earth, and it's about being conscious about what we're doing and trying to share with others from a point of consciousness. So that's now the name of this particular page, Fingerprints on the Earth. But of course, I didn't start there. I started with just some National Geographic that had black and white photos that I liked. But that's how the process goes for me. That's why it's so much like a meditation, because when I walk away from having done this page in a journal, it truly is journaling what was happening for me on a subconscious level this day. Like I didn't even know that was going on for me, but it came to the surface, and so it's made its way in this journal, and it's a great way of documenting the 12th day of January as we move into 2015. So here we are done. Here I'm taking my trusty white paint marker. I have several of these, like I've said before, and I think I found the one that really seems to work consistently the best. And it's not this one, although this one's working right now, but it's the Sharpie paint stick, but the small one. The fat one seems to still want to not work all the time, but the thin one seems like it works pretty good. So here I'm drawing a line. I have a tendency to make these lines that sort of run through my journals oftentimes, especially the books that I make. So I put that there. And here we are. So thanks a lot.